The Basilica of St. John Lateran was shrouded in incense and dread. In the heart of Rome, a trial unlike any other was about to begin. The accused, Pope Formosus, sat on a throne in full papal regalia, though he had been dead for 9 months. Pope Stephen VI presided, wild-eyed as the clergy watched in horror. This was not justice, but a nightmare made real. Formosus's exhumed body, dressed in papal finery, was forced to stand trial. It was 897 AD, a time of chaos and ambition. The papacy was now a prize of immense power. A living pope cross-examined a dead one. History would never forget. The trial was a violation of sacred tradition, a public display of vengeance. The Cadaver Synod had begun. To understand this grotesque trial, we must look at its world. 9th century Rome was a city of ruins, ruled by violence and ambition. Powerful families saw the papacy as a political tool. Gangs, betrayal, and shifting alliances plagued the city. Popes were installed and deposed at the whim of the elite. Corruption and violence reigned. The sacred and profane were hopelessly entangled. Superstition ruled and holy war blurred with revenge. The Cadaver Synod was the result of decades of violence and corruption. The trial of a corpse revealed a broken institution. The papacy's authority was in tatters. This was the world that made the Cadaver Synod possible. The Church had reached its darkest hour. At the heart of this story are 2 popes, Formosus and Stephen VI. Formosus, once a respected missionary and diplomat, made powerful enemies by opposing the Spoleto family. His nemesis Stephen was installed as pope by the Spoletos to erase Formosus's legacy. Stephen's hatred was personal and political, fueled by the ambitions of his ruthless patrons. The Spoletos, led by Duke Guy and his son Lambert, forced Formosus to crown Guy emperor, but Formosus secretly sought to undermine them. He invited King Arnulf to challenge their power, an act the Spoletos saw as unforgivable. After Formosus's death, Stephen seized the chance for revenge. He was determined not just to erase Formosus, but to humiliate him, even in death. The stage was set for a confrontation that defied reason. Rome became the theatre for this grotesque drama. The living and the dead would clash in a spectacle of vengeance. The city braced for the unthinkable. The trial began behind sealed doors. Pope Stephen, consumed by rage, read the charges: perjury, ambition, and violating canon law. The corpse of Formosus could not answer, so a terrified deacon was forced to speak for him. Stephen screamed accusations. The deacon, trembling, recited self-incriminating replies. The clergy watched in stunned silence as their leader berated a corpse. The air grew heavy, the storm outside echoing the chaos within. The trial was pure theatre, a sham designed to destroy Formosus's legacy. Stephen's rage grew wilder, his accusations more desperate. The corpse sat in silent decay, a symbol of the Church's madness. The stench and horror overwhelmed the basilica. The spectacle was a descent into collective insanity. The highest authority in Christendom had lost its grip on reality. The trial dragged on, each moment more surreal than the last. The clergy's horror deepened as the proceedings continued. The Cadaver Synod was a grotesque display of power gone mad. The verdict was never in doubt. Formosus was found guilty on all charges. Guards stripped the corpse of its papal vestments, erasing all dignity. With an axe, they hacked off the 3 fingers Formosus had used for blessings. Finally, the remains were hurled into the Tiber River. Their victory was hollow. They had desecrated the office itself. The horror of the Cadaver Synod would haunt Rome. The Cadaver Synod had unleashed a curse. The aftermath was swift and violent. Outraged Romans turned against Stephen VI. Priests and bishops plotted revenge as the city seethed with anger. An earthquake struck, damaging the very basilica where the trial had taken place, seen as a sign of divine wrath. Rumours spread. Formosus's ghost haunted the Tiber, his body miraculously recovered and secretly reburied. The political tide turned. An armed mob overthrew Stephen. He was imprisoned and strangled within months of the trial. His successors quickly annulled the Cadaver Synod. Formosus's body was restored to St. Peter's with full honours. But the cycle of revenge continued. Pope Sergius III later revived the charges, holding another posthumous trial. The papacy was rocked by years of feuding and instability. The shadow of the Cadaver Synod lingered for decades. The Church struggled to recover its authority. The ghost of Formosus haunted the chair of St. Peter. The legacy of the Cadaver Synod would not fade. The Cadaver Synod remains one of history's most bizarre episodes. It exposes the darkness and fallibility at the heart of even the most sacred institutions. In medieval Rome, power and vengeance trumped faith and reason. Stephen's attempt to erase Formosus only immortalized him. The story forces us to confront the messiness of history, full of madness, cruelty, and events beyond explanation. The Church was not immune to corruption or violence. Today, the basilicas stand in peace, but the echoes of that day remain. The Cadaver Synod is a cautionary tale about the fragility of power. Even the holiest offices can be corrupted. The image of a dead pope on trial is a haunting reminder we should never forget.